Currently, we are working with 2 associations to run our pilot, and they have welcomed it. In fact, they have dedicated 100 of their taxis for us to pilot with. It's the taxi associations in Alexandra, it's Amsta and Atta. And yeah, they have welcomed it, and they believe it would be a working formula. They are.
So are we talking about a standard salary for like all taxi drivers?
Yes.
And is this pilot currently operational?
Okay, so at the moment, like I said, we do have the structures in place. We've got the 100 taxis. We've got some of the background employees already ready to proceed. We've got 20 drivers in which we are currently in training with. To train them on customer service. We do give them a permanent salary as well as benefits such as medical aid, funeral cover, disability cover. But most importantly, we give them a credit record and history. So now they're able to apply for credit. They could get a bond for a house. They could get credit for a car. So that's how we try to give back to the taxi drivers more than anything.
So I know this is more about especially improving the quality of service that people do get from taxi drivers and the taxi industry. What is the vision? How do you see transforming the industry?
Well, the vision, more than anything, I see it as to one day get to a level where a middle class or an upper class person who actually drives a car decides and chooses to leave their car at home to actually use one of our taxis. So we want to get to a level where Uber is, so to speak, but using minibus taxis, where you can choose to be in this taxi because you are treated well, you are comfortable, and you've got Wi-Fi in the taxi. Plus, it's cheaper going from point A to point B with a taxi rather than you using your car rather than petrol. So we want to get to a level where we own as many taxis as possible, because there are over 300,000 registered taxis in South Africa, and we'd love to go into the major cities as well as the long distance taxis, as well as cover basically the whole of South Africa.
Yeah, what inspired you to start this business?
I think more than inspiration, it was more of a circumstance. One day traveling from work in a taxi, I found myself in a taxi where one of the passengers didn't receive his full change, and it then started into a little fight in the taxi, and then the taxi driver decided to stop the taxi in the middle of the highway somewhere, and he then decided nobody's going home up until this person receives their money. So at that moment in time, I felt like he has all the power. The power is in the taxi driver's hand, and there's nothing that we can do, yet we are the ones that put food on his table. So I guess at that point I was thinking more of the unfriendliness of the industry, and thus I thought to myself, there should be something that we can do about this, because I know you can complain via the taxi associations, but you still see the same person out on the road the next day doing the same thing. So thus this idea came about to say, hey, how do we not only help this taxi driver, but as well as that be able to reprimand him if he had to treat people in a certain way. Thus we have our training, thus we have all the benefits that we give them, but as well as that there's the formality of your whole written warning, verbal warning that we have in the corporate world.